And we're back for the third and the final module of our stress series. And I'm your host, Dr. Derek Bruner. So if you haven't seen our first two, if you haven't been through those, I want you to stop right now and I want you to go back to those because this three-part series has been building on top of each other. And so I want you to keep up with the class. But for all of you who's been with me, congratulations, you're almost towards the end of this thing. But really quick housekeeping. This is in no way any replacement for advice from your medical doctor. This is just strictly information, and we're trying to do this for educational information purposes, and this is just intended to give you strategies to help you live your healthiest lifestyle and to help you and your family protect y'all's health. So a little recap. Through the first two, we've covered several different topics, and you probably remember we have three types of stress. So the first one was all about your emotional stress, and that's what people typically think about, but as you learn, there's two other kinds of stress. And then we have our physical stress, and we covered a lot more of that with the nervous system in module 2. This third one is going into that third topic, if you remember from the first module. So we're going to be covering the chemical stress today, and then we're going to be wrapping it all up. We're going to be giving you real strategies that you can own the stress at the end of this. But before we get into this, we're living in really crazy times right now. And so I told you from the beginning that I thought that this topic in particular was so important because if we can't be ourselves, we all have someone that loves and depends on us. And so we're starting to see the ramifications of what people are going through, and it's really starting to show up. They're scared for their health. They're scared because they're losing, potentially not working, worried about how they're gonna pay for bills. And so I told you from the beginning that I thought that this is so important. And even before this three-part series, we released one before, and if you haven't seen it, it was Staying Healthy in Quarantine. Now we're starting to hopefully move towards a little bit of normal, but I want you to go back and watch that one too, because we covered a lot of things and just trying to be healthy. Because I hate to say that I didn't see this coming, but we did, and so we're trying to kind of get out in front of this and try to give you all a good, solid information and take care of yourself. But this just came out a couple of days ago in the Advocate, and so the title of it, Coronavirus Isolation Can Have a Profound Impact on Mental Health, Chronic Disease, Doctors Say. And so through this whole thing, this is what we've been talking about. And doctors in and this is straight out of the article, doctors in South Louisiana have said that there's been an increase in weight gain, anxiety and depression, alcohol use, and in some cases, changes in sex drive with prolonged stress to the virus impact, even those who haven't been diagnosed with the coronavirus. So we look at this, and this is severely affecting people's emotional health, their physical health, and just families in general. And that's why I believe that this is so important that we address this issue. And honestly, this is what I've been disappointed in. We haven't heard anything coming down about how to. Well, we know that this virus affects our health, and especially people with complicating factors. But we haven't been told any proactive things. We haven't talked about controlling your blood sugar, trying to stay as healthy as we can going into it. And so now we're really starting to see the fallout on this. But that's enough of that. So let's talk about our strategies to be healthy. And so, like we talked about, we have three different types of stress. And so when we're talking about chemical stress today, we live in this toxic soup, and especially down here in South Louisiana where we're located, we've got so much pollution and everything, and that they've shown that the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services show that they release over 80,000 chemicals are registered every year in the United States, and each year estimated 2,000 new ones are introduced every year. So all these chemicals, our body has to deal with it and figure out a way to get rid of it. And so what you're going to do, and some of the chemicals that we're talking about your BPA's, that's in all your plastic bottles and all your plastics. We're talking about pesticides. We're talking about the exhaust and fumes. And so our bodies have to deal with this, and we have to eliminate it. And so how your body's going to do that is going to be in what we call detoxification. If you want the really fancy, and if you go and you try to look up research on detoxification, you're going to find much. The fancy term is going to be hepatic biotransformation. If you look up that, you'll see thousands of articles on this. But we're just going to call it detoxification, because we're just going to keep this simple. But what happens in your body to eliminate these toxins? Your body has to be able to convert it to water soluble, just meaning it's dissolved in water, so that you can pee it out or get rid of it. And so what it's going to do with that is you're going to have phase 1 and phase 2. And so your phase 1, that's where you're taking something that only dissolves in fat. So think of it like water and oil is what I'm talking about. So when you mix water with oil, the oil floats to the top. And so that's the problem, is your body wouldn't be able to get rid of that oil. And so phase 1, phase 1, your body's taking all these chemicals out of the parts of your body it wants to get rid of. And so phase 2 is actually probably the most important part. And so that's where your body actually converts it to water soluble, so you can get rid of it. And so that's where people that have a breakdown in phase 2, you may have heard of therapies like chelation. And that's where chelation therapy is pulling it out in phase 1, but we've also got to be able to convert it and get rid of it. It can't just float around there. It's kind of like one of the little snow globes that you shake up. And so these are different nutrients that help us, that have been proven to help us with both of them. And so you can mix these in, or foods containing this, in your diet to help you eliminate this. But also hydration is super important too, because we want it water soluble, so that we can help get rid of some of these. And one of the big ones, and I've touched on this in several other courses, but our blood sugar. Blood sugar is huge. Excessive blood sugar is super damaging to our body. And in fact, blood sugar is so damaging. I want you to think of it like this little cartoon down here, these angry little Viking sugar cubes. And it damages the inside of our vessels, can lead to all kinds of stuff. Well, with diabetes, one of the things everybody knows about is that you can have neuropathy and then cut your feet off. How that happens is your body needs blood supply. It needs it to be healthy. And so all your little bitty capillaries are so susceptible to this. And so the blood sugar damages that to the point where tissue starts to die. But this is research that was released in Alzheimer's. There's been a correlation found between blood sugar dysregulation, aka diabetes, and Alzheimer's, to the point where these authors were actually considering Alzheimer's type 3 diabetes is how damaging it is. Because you think about your brain needs healthy nutrients, healthy blood supply. But it also, if your body's on fire, if the blood sugar is damaging parts of your body, it's also damaging that as well. But what I really want to talk to you about is about blood sugar and just sugar in general. So everyone's like, yeah, I get it. So I got to control blood sugar. So I won't eat sugar. The problem is sugar is hidden in so many things. And so that's what I want to talk to you about in here. Kind of like Nutella. And I love Nutella. Nutella tastes great, but you know the reason why it tastes great is this is this is actually what makes up Nutella. And you can see just how much of this is just plain old white sugar. And so we can substitute certain things to be healthier. And so you look at this, and this is actually a can of soda. Sorry, it's not a 2-liter bottle, but this is just one little can. There's over 52 grams of sugar in that. And so we can find healthy alternatives. For instance, kombucha over here. For all of you who don't know what that is, that's a fermented tea, but it can be bubbly, and you can get it in different flavors. But kombucha is really good for you. And first of all, it has all kinds of probiotics in it to help with our gut health. But over here, this particular one right here, and this is this label, it only has 2 grams of sugar, and it has 2 times your daily recommended B vitamins. And so just switching from Coke to from a soda a day to kombucha, you can see how much health benefits that can give us. And then this one, unfortunately, wasn't fun to discover. But so we have a muffin, and so we think we're eating a healthy breakfast. It has over 46 grams of sugar. Remember that Coke had 52. This is almost just as bad as that Coke, but a Starbucks vanilla buttercream cupcake only has 34. So this is where it can be hidden in bad places. So a Chobani yogurt, and I love those things. We think we're eating healthy, but that can be just as much as a half cup of Breyer's ice cream. So this little chart's really eye-opening, and it shows how the thing that I want you to understand is a carb ultimately becomes sugar. It doesn't matter which carb it is; it's going to be converted to sugar in your body. It's just how fast it gets there, and that's where these hidden sugars can really beat us up. And so here's more. We made this little board, and it just shows how much sugar whenever we measure it out, how much sugar, and here's how much sugar is in that can of Coke. So so that just really shows how much is just hidden in that thing. But the thing that you may ask yourself is, okay, well, why doesn't it taste like that much sugar? And that's because a Coke is actually a strong acid. And so when you look at this pH scale, the farther you go down, you have your orange juice and everything down here, but Coke is actually pretty far down here. It's actually down here almost right along with vinegar. You have vinegar and colas. And so I've always asked patients when we kind of just had this conversation, I'm like, would you just take a bottle of vinegar and just drink it like you would a Coke? Not just one. Some people drink multiple cans of Cokes a day. Would you just drink that vinegar like that? And the answer is always no. But that's the reason why it has so much sugars, because they're covering up just how acidic that Coke really is. And so obviously, one thing that we can do is we can limit sugar, but other things that we can do when we talk about our overall health, we kind of have pillars to optimizing our health. And so the first one is detoxification. And so when I'm talking about detoxification, I'm not just talking about, well, I'm going to take all these supplements. I'm going to do these crazy detoxification programs. A lot of it is limiting our exposure to these toxins, to be honest with you. Things like the BPA's in our plastic. We don't want to heat plastic. That's going to leach, and especially black plastic, dark plastics have been shown to have even more BPA's. That's going to leak in these toxins. Trying to limit and decrease our exposure just the best that we can. On our nutrition, we've got to eat well. We've got to eat healthy. We've got to decrease our blood sugar. We're not going to go into the details of each of these because all of these can be a individual lecture altogether, and we probably will do some courses on these. We need fitness. We need to exercise. And I'll be totally honest with you. If I could harness all the benefits that exercise has and put it in a pill and make it into a supplement, like I couldn't keep it on the shelf. Exercise and fitness is just an absolute must. And so our hormone balance, well, we've been talking about how stress affects our hormones. And so that's part of the reason why we wanted to do this lecture, is because if we don't figure out a way to control these stresses, that's going to have a negative effect on our hormone balance and our nervous system. And in module 2, we went into that, and we went into how we can affect and protect our nervous system. But as far as some supplements for you to take, some strategies at home, so adaptogenic just helps your body adapt. And so these are some of my favorite adaptogenic herbs. And so ashwagandha is probably my number one that I tell patients they can take. Rhodiola is a good one. You've probably heard of ginseng and holy basil. And then vitamin C, when you have high cortisol, it tends to reduce your vitamin C, and vitamin C is a really good antioxidant, which antioxidant helps protect our body against oxidative stress that those toxins then cause as well. But these are good, solid supplements that you can take that helps with your cortisol and with your adrenal system. And so if you've watched this and you're like, yeah, like I fit that adrenal model, well, where do I even start? Where do I start turning around this? And so the first thing I tell people is we've got to test first. If you're not testing, you're just guessing. And usually what we start off with is we look at, do we need to do a cortisol test, need a blood work, neurological evaluation. But we start off with a thorough history exam and testing. And we've got to determine the underlying cause. And well, whatever that looks like. And we got to focus on the cause, not the symptoms. And that's what medicine's been more about is you have this symptom, here's this pill, but we've got to focus on the cause and try to eliminate this the best that we can. And so we got to correct the dysfunction, assess the body as a whole. You're not just a heart, you're not just a liver. We got to start looking at the body with a whole body approach. And then, and really what we try to do, and part of what this whole course is about is we try to be a mentor. With all of our practice members, we try to be a good source of information. And we try to help sift through all the crazy information the best we can. And as far as stabilizing blood sugar, you kind of have two different ways. You have the low blood sugar, and typically people with low blood sugar, they get hangry. And so what I mean by hangry is I crash in between meals, get fatigued, I get a headache. They're just hard to be able to deal with. And typically with those people, they tend more on the low blood sugar. They tend to be the people who like to miss or skip meals. And so on them, I like to give them low glycemic snacks and try to maintain that. As far as your high blood sugar, those are usually your crashers. They go and they have lunch and then they just crash afterwards. That's because they have this really high blood sugar and then insulin spikes and then it comes crashing down. On those people, we've got to do more strategies on how do we avoid that spike? How do we maintain, stabilize this blood sugar? We probably need to look at what they're eating. Is it super high glycemic? Is it super high carb? And those are the strategies that we've got to take to stabilize that. So you've got to look at which category you fit into. Am I more that hangry person, or am I more that after lunch crash person? And some take-home activities for you to do. We talked about the stress. We need to, ergonomics is so important, especially people that have been working at a home. You know, we had these great desks, and I've just seen an influx and just a flood of people coming in talking about like, man, I've got all these headaches I've never had before. I've got this neck pain, I got shoulder pain. And so what it is they usually had a good workstation. Now they're working from home. And so now we're sitting on the couch with poor posture, just sitting there, just cranking our neck. And no, these headaches aren't normal. What it is where we've left these workplace ergonomics, and now we're sitting in poor posture. And so we've got to really pay attention to our workplace ergonomics, especially for those of us that are working at home. Yoga and meditation. And when I'm talking about meditation, we're just simply talking about breathing exercises. Nothing weird. Some people get weirded out with meditation, but especially spiritual people. And I always tell people, you know, like when we're talking about meditation, is sitting there and listening for God to speak to us, trying to decrease our heart rate, trying to take deep breathing, and just trying to calm down and wind down. Sleep is so important. And we don't get enough of it, especially when we're stressed out, if we have cortisol issues. But we've got to be striving to try to get 7-8 hours of sleep. And so something about falling asleep, we already talked about cortisol and how that can affect us staying asleep, but falling asleep is another whole nother thing. And so when we're a baby, when we're a kid, or when we're little kids, we always have this wind down process. But as adults, we kind of lose that for some reason. We watch TV until it's time to go to bed, or we take care of the kids and we're trying to go straight to bed, and we've got so many things going on. But I always tell people, like, we need to turn off that TV. There's been a lot of research with the blue light from the TV and how it affects our melatonin, which is our hormone that lets us go to sleep. But turn off the TV, start this wind down process where where we can start trying to shut down, because we're just go, and then we expect it to shut off instantly. If it doesn't work in our kids, it's not going to work in us as adults. Proper exercise program. And I know we've all been quarantined. The good thing is gyms are starting to open up, and it's starting to get easier and easier to exercise. There's things that we can use, things like our Apple Watch, and we talked about heart rate variability in the second module. A company that I really love is called Elite HRV. It's an app that you can download. I really love that one, but that's a way that we can get tangible numbers and tangible data on how's the stress, how's things affecting, how's my nervous system holding up to this stress. And so using something like Elite HRV can just give us the data and show us, how well we're managing this. And then we've got to eat to decrease inflammation, got to avoid these chemicals, and we've got to manage our blood sugar. So I hope that this has been great information. If you have any questions or if you need help with anything, feel free to reach out to us. Here's our contact information. Reach us at our website, GeauxChiro.com. Me personally, reach me at drdbruner@gmail.com. Feel free to call our office, shoot us an email. Also, too, if there's any topics or if I said something in this that you're like, hey, I need you to go into more detail on this, I'd like for you to do another more detailed class on it, on detoxification, on any of this, shoot us that in the email. We're always looking for topics because we want to give you great information and talk about what you want to hear.